Thank you for meeting with me. From what I hear, you're the guy.
The guy? I like that.
No one knows how you do it.
Do what?
Get people to do what you want them to do. These aren't just regular people. These are high-profile people. Congressmen, senators, politicians. The ones who tout themselves as being unable to be bought. The ones who think for themselves and vote their conscience.
Is this part of the job interview?
Not really. I just really want to know.
So, you want me to divulge my trade secrets?
This is all off the record. I've been following your work for years. You've been able to influence swing vote senators to completely change their stance on bills in the space of a few hours. From what I hear, nothing you do comes in the form of threats or blackmail.
Punishment, or the threat of punishment, is a suboptimal way to elicit ideal behaviors. If you want somebody to do something, you can either scare them into doing it or make the environment such that they want to do it.
That makes sense, but how do you make someone want to do something that they don't want to do?
It's an excellent question. Did you ever study psychology in college, a basic intro course?
Yes. It was part of our curriculum for my political science bachelor's degree.
You might remember learning about B.F. Skinner.
Vaguely. I drank a lot in college.
Well, I'll explain operant conditioning to you in a way that you can understand. But I think the best way to do that would be to describe how I was raised.
You're from NYC, right?
Right, Upper East Side. I lived in my mother's version of a Skinner box as a kid. My mother was a scientist. She firmly believed that almost all behaviors could be shaped if the rewards were appropriately salient enough.
Salient?
If someone really enjoys something or likes it a lot, it's powerful or salient. For my mother's lab rats, they really enjoyed sugar. She would use Fruit Loops that she cut into quarters.
Fruit Loops? Have they been around that long?
You saying that look old? They've been around since the 60s, I guess. This was the mid-70s. She used to spend nights while I was doing homework cutting up these little colored circles that she would reward the rats with.
When's your test on this material?
Thursday.
90% or better. If you get 90% or better, I will let you pick the biggest, most delicious piece of chocolate cake at Marcy's Bakery. And I'll let you eat it all in one sitting until the chocolate is all over your face and half all over your clothes.
All over my face and all over my clothes? You won't get mad if I ruin my clothes?
No, maybe only ruin clothes that are already stained. But the idea sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yes, eating cake and making a big mess are the things I love to do more than anything.
Yes, I know.
She knew her rats would work for Fruit Loops. They would learn these complicated tasks for rewards. And she also knew that chocolate cake was a salient reinforcement for me. And sure enough, on every single math test I ever took, I got 90% or better. I ended up with a master's degree in math from Columbia University.
That's what I read. It sounded as if that was an effective strategy on the part of your mom, but that also sounds like a hell of a lot of cake. I'm shocked a mother would allow it. Did it rot your teeth?
Good point. Though I eventually grew out of cake. Stopped being novel anyway. My mom switched to cash. But by then she had solidified my desire to do well in math. I spent a lot of time as an 8-year-old solving equations while imagining what that first bite of chocolate cake would taste like as it entered my mouth. Just anticipating eating chocolate triggers dopamine release in the nucleus accumbens.
What's that?
The nucleus accumbens is one of the important brain regions involved in how we perceive reward. Dopamine as a molecule basically teaches us to engage in certain behaviors that are important. It's released in response to eating, sex, even listening to music. So if an individual engages in a behavior that's perceived or met with a consequence that is pleasurable, there's a greater chance that that behavior will occur again in the future. Dopamine and brain regions like the nucleus accumbens help train an individual to select certain actions.
So this is what your mom taught you.
Absolutely. She not only got me to get good grades in math, but how to shape the behaviors of my classmates.
Were kids ever mean to you when you were my age?
All the time. Who's being mean to you?
Marcus, he makes fun of me and pushed me on the playground.
Okay, that's unacceptable. You know what my father would tell me when I told him a kid was being mean to me? He would tell me to be mean right back. The kid pushed me to push the kid back.
So is that what I should do?
Nope. My dad was a horrible father. What kind of parent tells a kid to push another kid back? I guess it could work, but it's very lowbrow and uncivilized. I prefer to think about people as big rats. If a rat fears you because you were mean to the rat or didn't treat the rat well, it will never lead to healthy dynamics between the two of you. If you do something nice for the rat, like give him Fruit Loops or pet him when you see him, that rat will be a much better animal to work with. Everybody wins.
So I should think of Marcus like he's a rat?
Kind of. What does he like?
Legos. He really likes Legos. Legos and cupcakes.
You're getting the hang of this. Is he ever nice to you?
Every now and then.
Okay, you can work with this. The key is knowing what each person really likes. If you know what they like, you can shape their behavior and have them eating out of the palm of your hand. Literally.
One night, my mother took me to a toy store and I picked out a small Lego set for Marcus. She told me to wait until a moment where he was at least a little nice to me. And then I was to leave it on his desk with a note. And after a couple of weeks of various shaping procedures that my mother had taught me, Marcus stopped being mean to me at school. We became pretty good friends.
That's pretty clever. Kind of like bribery.
No, it's different than that. I didn't say if you're nice to me, I'll give you this Lego set. Behavior happens organically and the reward comes. The brain responds and the behaviors are more likely to occur again. It's how Skinner taught pigeons to play ping pong. Google shaping.
So basically, your mother taught you to train friends as if they were pigeons playing ping pong.
She trained me to elicit appropriate responses from people in my environment using operant conditioning techniques.
So this is what you do with senators. You hand them Legos, or the equivalent.
That's what I do with everyone. I size you up. I find out everything there is to know about you, what you like, what you love. And then I give it to you when you don't realize you're getting it, when you aren't looking at me. Every single action you take, I'm reinforcing it if I want you to do it again. See, the newer wave psychologists have generally disregarded the work of Skinner and Freud as if they were redheaded stepchildren. But I think they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Skinner was a real visionary. You should pick up Walden 2 one of these days. It's a fun read.
Maybe I will. So what did it take for Senator Giles to vote for the energy spending bill when he seemed to be so against it?
It's a laundry list of items and abstract reinforcers for which I won't bore you, but you get the drift.
I'm guessing with him it was an attractive woman in her early 20s.
If only were that easy. We always like to think that men can be reduced to the lowest common denominator, but it's not like that. It's usually a complex combination of pseudo-altruistic reinforcers and basic primary reinforces involving sex and money. All rewards have to be presented as quickly as possible after the optimal behavior occurs.
Well, I guess that's why they pay you the big bucks.
So what's your recommendation going to be for this job moving forward?
I'm definitely going to recommend you. I have absolutely no clue how you do everything, but it sounds sciencey enough to win over the peanut gallery.
It's a big job.
Well, I trust you know what you're doing.
Excellent. Oh, by the way, I have a pair of tickets to see 1984 on Broadway up in New York City this weekend. A friend and I can't make it. Would you happen to want them?
Up at NYC? Sure. I'm always up for a trip to the Big Apple. Hey, it was great to meet you in the flesh. 1984 was my favorite book in college. I guess you knew that.